Only a tiny fraction of people have these childhoods. And if you had even one of them, it may quietly explain why you feel different today. Not broken, not strange, just wired in a way most people never notice. Psychologists have spent decades studying why certain adults think deeper, feel more intensely, and react differently to the world around them. And what they've discovered is something most of us were never taught to look for. It isn't intelligence alone. It isn't trauma alone. It isn't talent. It's childhood patterns. Small, overlooked experiences that shape how your nervous system learned to survive, interpret meaning, and decide what feels safe. Today, we're counting down 12 childhoods that most people overlook completely. And number 6 is the one that almost everyone misunderstands. As we go, don't label yourself. Don't judge your past. Just do a quiet self-check. Because by the end, I'll share one simple way to develop the most elusive trait on this list, no matter what kind of childhood you had. 1. The childhood where you felt too much. For most of your life, someone probably told you that you were too sensitive, too emotional, too intense. You cried easily, not just when you were sad, but when you were angry, overwhelmed, or even deeply moved by something beautiful. So you learned to hide it. But psychology tells a different story. Some children are born with nervous systems that process more information more deeply. You didn't just hear sounds, you absorbed them. You didn't just feel emotions, you studied them. In adulthood, this often shows up as deep empathy, intuition, and emotional intelligence. Not weakness, awareness. 2. The childhood where you grew up fast, maybe you were mature for your age, the responsible one. The child who didn't cause trouble. But what people didn't see was that you learned early how to read the room, how to anticipate moods, how to stay quiet when things felt unstable. Children like this often become adults who are calm in crisis, but restless in peace. You don't panic easily, but you struggle to relax, because your nervous system learned that safety came from control. 3. The childhood where you spent a lot of time alone, not always lonely. Just alone. You played by yourself. You disappeared into books, imagination, or quiet observation. You didn't need constant stimulation to feel engaged. Adults from this childhood often think deeply, enjoy solitude, and feel drained by shallow interaction. You don't dislike people. You dislike noise without meaning. 4. The childhood where you were rarely understood. You tried to explain yourself, but words never quite landed. Adults misread your intentions. Peers misunderstood your reactions. So eventually, you stopped explaining. This childhood creates adults who are articulate internally but cautious externally. You think clearly, but you choose words carefully, because being misunderstood once was enough. 5. The childhood where emotions were inconsistent. Some days felt warm. Other days felt unpredictable. You never quite knew what version of the world you'd wake up to. This doesn't always create fear. Often, it creates hyper-awareness. As an adult, you read tone shifts instantly. You sense emotional changes before others do. You may struggle with trust, but excel at perception. 6. The childhood where you were rewarded for being easy, most misunderstood. You weren't demanding. You didn't ask for much. You made things easier for others, so people praised you. But what they didn't see was what you stopped asking for. Adults from this childhood often struggle with boundaries, not because they're weak, but because their nervous system learned that being low maintenance was how you stayed safe. You learned to disappear politely. 7. The childhood where curiosity was discouraged. You asked questions. Too many. And eventually you were told to stop. Adults from this childhood often become deep thinkers later in life, rediscovering curiosity privately. You question systems. You think independently. You don't accept answers easily. You had to relearn permission to think. 8. The childhood where you felt responsible for others' feelings. You noticed when someone was upset, and you adjusted yourself accordingly. This childhood often creates adults who are natural emotional anchors. People come to you for comfort, but you rarely ask for it yourself. You learn to regulate others before you learn to regulate yourself. 9. The childhood where you were rarely seen, but always watching. You weren't the loud one. You were the observer. You noticed patterns. You studied people. You understood dynamics before you participated in them. As an adult, this shows up as sharp intuition and strategic thinking. You don't rush in, you understand first. 10. The childhood where praise was conditional. You were valued, but only when you performed, succeeded, behaved correctly. This childhood creates adults who are highly capable and quietly exhausted. You tie worth to output, and rest feels undeserved. 11. The childhood where silence was safer than expression. You learned when not to speak, when to hold back, when to stay neutral. Adults from this childhood often have powerful internal worlds and delayed self-expression. Your voice is strong but carefully guarded. When you speak, it matters. 12. The childhood where you felt different but didn't know why you sensed it early. You weren't like everyone else, but no one explained why. So you assumed something was wrong, but psychology suggests something else entirely. Difference is often the marker of depth, of sensitivity, of awareness that simply develops ahead of its time. The hidden pattern behind all 12. None of these childhoods guarantee success. None of them doom you either. What they do is shape how your nervous system learned to interpret the world. And the most elusive trait, the one that predicts long-term clarity and emotional strength, is not toughness. It's self-understanding. The moment you stop trying to fix who you were and start understanding why you adapted the way you did, something shifts. You stop fighting yourself. You start working with yourself, and that's where real potential unlocks. If this resonated, don't rush to label yourself. Just notice. Because awareness isn't the end of the journey, it's the beginning. If you like the video, hit the subscribe channel so you can see more stuff coming your way.